gonna get into some Saddiq Bey talk because that's what I think is a good way to start it off. Because there were actually some trade rumors that I heard. Uh, I think it was a couple days ago, honestly. Mateo, what were you thinking when you heard that Saddiq Bey could potentially get traded?
Sad, sad. That was just my first thought. Sadiq, he is my favorite player on the team. Has been my favorite for a while. I love watching him, but eventually I feel like a lot of us knew this day would come when we'd at least be entertaining trade talks. It's definitely a sad day because it really makes that potential more of a reality that we're at least going to be actually exploring it. Now, of course, they're just rumors, but you know, I don't think in my mind, I don't think Troy Weaver is willing to trade Sadiq if it's not for the right price. I really trust Troy here, and it's one of those things where you look at his track record. If he's made trades for the most part, they're trades that benefit us and are winning trades. And if he ends up doing that, we have to live with it. It's going to be sad for sure if we end up trading him. I'd rather we not, but I understand why the rumors are starting up, though, because he's not playing that well right now, and his fit with the team seems a little questionable.
Dude, I don't like it at all. Listen, I get he hasn't been great this year. He's only 23 years old, and he did actually come back tonight, had 15 points, 1 of 4 from three. Listen, the three-point shooting is a problem. I can't deny that. He's down to 28.6% for the season. He's taking 2 less attempts per game than last year. But, dude, are we really giving up on him already?
It's tough too with Bojan in the mix, and now that Bojan's out, that adds a little bit of an element. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but you would have thought a game like today should have been his game. He should have dominated today's game, at least on offense for us. Should have been our leading scorer. And so to see him not really step into that role was interesting. Whether that was because it's his first game back from injury, that definitely could have played a role. But we want to see him be able to, be that second or third best guy on the team who can play and step up on days where we don't have Ivy or Cade or Stu or Bojan in this case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The three-point shooting, I feel like at least tonight I saw him passing up some open looks from three. I remember one late in the game where he had an open three and then he went to drive and he actually traveled on it and stuff like that. I think expectations for him, man, he was supposed to be this team's best three-point shooter, and it's sad to see him regress. I mean, looking at his numbers his rookie year, he shot 38% from three on 6.6 attempts as a rookie.
Yeah, he was on fire.
Yeah, and last year he really got off to a bad start, but then finished the season strong. Yeah, I'm just not ready to give up on him yet, mainly because I don't see a viable replacement at the wing position on this roster, and I don't know. I could see him, maybe catching on, like he did last season, but he's just still so young. The only thing I can say is that he will be an unrestricted or a restricted free agent after next season. So I can see how fans are want to trade him because they don't want to pay him. How much do you think he would be asking for? How much do you think teams if he were to hit the restricted market, do you see any teams kind of offering him a bag, just so the Pistons would have to match it?
I feel like he's definitely going to get some pretty good offers. There are teams out there that are, from what I was reading, upset that they passed on him in the draft. And I think that he's the type of guy that some teams could offer a mid value on and probably still get him if he likes them enough. So I don't know exactly where that would be. I think we're still a ways away from that, obviously. But I think given the opportunity, he definitely would, or other teams would definitely explore that potential. I think that they know that the Pistons aren't necessarily committed to Saddiq Bey long term. That's definitely a possibility that they're going to have to start to realize and figure out how we're going to maneuver it, especially when it comes down to money. We're going to have a lot of contracts to pay for in the next couple of years here, especially as these rookie extensions finish up.
Yeah, that is a good point. So in terms of trading him, which I just want to state this again, I think is a terrible idea. I don't think it's going to happen, and I hope this is just rumors. But what would you want to give up? I was hearing, we'll just take a first-round pick for him. What do you think his value is right now?
I mean, I think the first-round pick is the bare minimum. I think that's kind of where you start for Saddiq Bey. for being a successful lottery, not even lottery pick, a successful late first round pick, mid to late first round pick. That's someone who at 23 was still value, can still grow, can still develop. That's someone you have to value a little bit higher than just a first round pick, because first round picks are kind of hit or miss often, especially if they're in the mid range, unless they're lottery. So it's kind of like we're in the mode of we're not trying to rebuild all over again. So we don't need to get a future first round pick to try to develop another wing when we kind of already have that. We're at that stage where he's developed, and now it's like, how far can he take that development? And if it doesn't work out, then we trade it for potentially a player who's already established himself, maybe a younger player. I wouldn't be mad if we, took our chances on someone who is like Keldon Johnson or someone like that, a younger forward who has potential, who can kind of, take that role and maybe be better at it.
Yeah, one name I've heard floated around, and this guy has seemingly been on the trade market or had been in trade rumors for years, is John Collins. Do you think, what would it take to get, John Collins in a Saddiq trade? Do you think it would be Saddiq Bey and a first-round pick, or do you think the Hawks would have to give us assets?
That's interesting. I mean, John Collins is having a pretty rough year so far. He's playing 30-plus minutes a game, and he's not averaging I think he's averaging like 13 and 7, something like that, 14 and 7. So he's not having a very productive year, especially for someone who should kind of be flourishing right now. And so I'm curious to see what the Hawks do with that in the future. I think that they definitely should trade him. And if it were to the Pistons, I just feel like that they would value him higher than we would, and probably would demand more than Saddiq in exchange for him. Probably, I don't know, maybe even like a Killian or something like that, which I feel like that's what they would expect unless we were throwing in probably a valuable pick as well.
Yeah. Looking at his numbers, he's averaging 12.6 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, and shooting 22% from three. And this is a guy who's 25 years old. He's entering the prime of his career. And I think there is something to be said that he's been in trade talks, trade rumors for it seems like years now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. For me personally, he doesn't do it for me defensively.
Yeah.
No.
His athleticism was exciting, and he looked good for a couple of years there, but he doesn't look ever consistent. He never looks consistent, and that's something that we definitely don't want to bring to Detroit right now. We want to try to bring people who we know what they're going to be, and we know that they're going to provide for us.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm probably in the minority, but if they offered me Collins for Saddiq straight up, well, because money didn't work, so maybe we'd have to throw in like Nerlens Noel or someone to make the money work. I wouldn't take that straight. I value Saddiq Bey more than John Collins.
Oh, same. Absolutely. I wouldn't take that. I don't think I would take that unless, we were getting something more from that, especially with the way John Collins is playing this year. It would be a different case if we were talking about a different year, but this version of John Collins is not one I want to trade for right now, especially not a young forward like Saddiq Bey.
Yeah. So that's kind of my final thoughts on that is Saddiq. I hope his 3-point shooting, he fixes it. And he is shooting over 90% from the free throw line. So I don't know how big of an indicator that really is.
Right.
But,
well, and he started slow last year. Like you said, he had a very slow start last year. Obviously, it's not great to see that again, but it could just be a repeat of last year. And we could see him come out and start, firing for the next while. The next couple months, he could have come back on fire. He could finish the season on fire. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, hopefully he can develop some more consistency. That's definitely what we need from him right now.